Well, there has been a fierce debate of late on whether our MPs should give up the food subsidy that they get in the Parliament canteen. For more on that, it's over to my colleague Nidhi Razdan.
Well, over the last few days and weeks, there has been a huge debate about whether Parliament's canteen should continue its food subsidy. A food committee of MPs, in fact, decided that it must continue despite widespread criticism that this is not needed. MPs, for instance, pay just 18 rupees for a mutton cutlet and 5 rupees for a plate of boiled vegetables. Leading the protest against this subsidy has been BJD MP Jai Panda. But now more than 12 MPs, led by the CPIM's MB Rajesh, have asked Jai Panda to first give up big benefits and concessions, as they put it, that his family-owned company had received earlier, which included a loan waiver of 2,300 crore rupees. Joining us on the program today is Jai Panda, and with us also as well, CPIM MP MB Rajesh. I'll take this question to you, Mr. Rajesh, first, because Jai Panda has been talking about the need for MPs to set an example and give up this subsidy, especially at a time when the government is appealing to citizens to give up their LPG subsidy. But you've taken this to the next level. In a sense, you've made it personal. How did you decide that you would make this correlation? Why make this correlation between what Jai Panda is calling old allegations and his demand to have MPs give up this subsidy? Mr. Rajesh.
Number one, we are completely in agreement with the demand that there should be no subsidized food for MPs. And when this issue came up, and House Committee, or I think the Food Committee, held a meeting, our Rajya Sabha Chief Whip, Comrade T.K. Rangarajan, had made it categorically clear that CPIM is not for subsidized food for MPs. So that is our stated position. And we have taken this position earlier also. But MPs individually or voluntarily cannot give up the subsidies. It is for the Speaker and for the government to decide. So we have made our stand clear, that the CPIM has made it clear that we are ready to give up the food subsidy. Number two is that we don't want to take this into a personal level. Mr. Jai Panda wrote a letter to us, and we replied to him, and we had to mention some of the issues in which he and his family-run business are involved, because we think that it is not morally proper, or he has no moral authority to advise people like us to give up food subsidy, because we have already expressed our willingness to give it up, and we had directly put some questions, as some simple and direct questions to Mr. Jai Panda, whether you will be giving up the huge benefits of loan waiver and tax concessions, etc. And he is asking for a symbolic sacrifice, and we are asking for a much bigger sacrifice from people like Jai Panda. It's not symbolic sacrifice we can all do. It's not a big thing. And we are asking for a much bigger sacrifice of giving up all such benefits.
Let me take that to Jai Panda then. Jai, you said that you're disappointed with this letter that your colleagues are circulating, but their point is that you need to practice what you are asking, practice what you preach, what you are asking them to do. There's a principle involved here. How would you respond firstly to these allegations that your fellow colleagues are making?
Please give me time to respond to all of them. First of all, I respect Shri Rajesh and the other colleagues who have written this, and on many occasions we have actually been on the same side of the issues and worked together. Secondly, the allegations that have been made regarding my family, there are two aspects I want to point out. They have their roots back in the 1980s when I was a teenager. So I don't know to what extent I should answer, but nevertheless let me answer. Mr. Rajesh may not be aware of all the facts. The fact is there was no loan waiver. There was a corporate debt restructuring where there was no malfeasance. This was settled by the courts of the land. And he is asking for giving up. He's probably not aware that my family members, including myself, we did forfeit and surrender our shares, 50% of our shares, to make that rehabilitation possible. So he may not be aware of all these facts. But the bigger issue is this. The bigger issue is, let us not distract from this issue about canteen subsidy, because it has become a sore point with millions of citizens out there who have been objecting to this. And I welcome Shri Rajesh's statement that his party, the CPIM, has been against the canteen subsidy to MPs. I will request him to also convey that to the Honorable Speaker. And I am also in agreement with him that when it comes to lower level staff, there are many lower level staff there who are not so well off. They must be given a food allowance so that they can continue to get some food benefits, and it should not be the MPs and others who can afford it who should not get. Now, I agree, this is a symbolic thing, and there are many other bigger things we need to grapple in Parliament itself. But the point is, there is a anger out there in the public against many elements of our long-standing VVIP culture. Now, this may be one of the smaller aspects, but this is something that is a lot of the public are reacting negatively to. I think we should listen to them and take some steps.